Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you today with another review, and today we're looking at a deluxe class offering from the Generations line, an updated slash reimagined slash re-released slash whatever version of Transformers Beast Wars Waspinator, one of the best characters in the show, absolutely hilarious, not entirely a bad guy despite the fact he was a Predacon, and overall just a whole lot of fun. And I'm gonna come right out and say it right now, that's pretty much what this figure boils down to, is pretty much fun. And you can see, looking at this guy, he looks pretty good. You can see just from the ambient light in the room, this guy's fantastic light piping. I mean, look at that, his eyes just glow. He is a pretty decent size. He's about standard deluxe size. Here he is next to Voyager class Rhinox. And if you watched my Rhinox review, that's going to be really funny to you. I am shooting these reviews back to back, so I do only have the same figures kind of laying around. So here we have Waspinator next to a Voyager class. This is Voyager movie Galvatron in his vehicle mode. You can see Waspinator is quite big next to a Voyager class. Good little size, great coloring. I love the color on this guy. Great green, great yellow, very vivid black. I love the color on his bug eyes on his chest. Just absolutely fantastic. All around a very good looking figure, but looks are not the most important thing, as we learned in my Rhinox review last Sunday. So let's get going into the review proper by getting this guy transformed up through the magic of jump cuts. And here we have Waspinator in his beast mode, and he looks pretty much how you would expect him to. I mean, he's Waspinator, and it's very clear who he's supposed to be, and he looks very good. Great vibrant purple Predacon symbol there with some great molded detail. You can see his bug head as it is intended to be, with those great eyes. The full wasp thorax there. Great detail in the translucent wings. Absolutely love that. And the wings do flap via a mechanism here that isn't too obtrusive, except for that horrible sound. Now he's got these great little thin, mostly proportionate bug legs, and you can barely see his arm there at all. Wink, wink. No, these bug legs, much better than the bug legs on the old figure, which I have only seen images of. I mentioned in my Rhinox review, I believe, that I never actually owned a version of Waspinator until this, so I was understandably very excited when this thing was announced. You can see back here is his stinger, also translucent plastic, and you may recognize it as the barrel of his gun in the robot mode shots from earlier, and that is because, just like the original version of the figure, his gun is made from his stinger, like so. Getting Waspinator's weapon transformed is very easy, as you can see there. And transforming Waspinator himself isn't really that much more complicated. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do, we are going to take his not at all obvious hands, wink wink, and we're just going to separate them and kind of splay his arms out like so, leaving room for us to do stuff. Next, we are going to take this section under here, which is his legs, and just pop it down. And that's probably the biggest departure between this and the original Waspinator figure, is that his back bug leg, his two furthest back bug legs, are not made from his robot mode legs. His robot mode legs actually fill out most of the Wasp body, as you can see. But you can also see that we're actually pretty far into the transformation already. Next, we're going to take this back section and just fold it back, and the joint is very stiff, like very stiff. Next, we're going to lower his legs down as far as they'll go, and bring this whole section up, rotate it around, not letting anything get in the way like I just did because I'm a dork. Then we're going to take, and this is pretty cool, you can see there's a gap between these two plastic panels here, and they will just fit right around this section, this darker green section here. From there we can bring down these legs and bring up his front bug legs, which are on very tight ball joints, which worries me a little bit because these are pretty flimsy and I'm worried they'll break. So just be aware that the ball joints are tight and rotate. Hold it to rotate them close to this ball joint. Next we're going to fold out the toes and the heels like so, and move back up to the top to finish things off. We're going to fold out the shoulders on these hinges here, and then rotate his arms in place at the ball joints which make up the elbows. Bring the whole torso down, and then push the shoulders in, which will split the bug head. Next we're going to bring this back like so, in case you didn't see that, like so. And then bring this whole section down, and there's a peg right there that will tab into that hole there. So you just bring it down, nice and simple, and then press back, and this section here will pop in, and the peg will pop in. And bringing the insect legs up like so, the final step, and there we have Waspinator in his robot mode. And there have been some complaints about this robot mode since it came out, since it was announced, since it was first revealed, that clearly they're trying to stay close to the they're finally getting him to stand straight, but they're trying to keep him close to on model for the show, and didn't really take many departures from that design, and yet there are some differences. I'm not going to point them all out here because they're very subtle. The biggest one though is that there are these bug legs sticking up along the sides of his robot legs. Obviously those would not have been there because he would have only had 4 bug legs and then his 2 robot legs. So you would have had the 4 bug legs here, and then these would have been his other 2 bug legs. And you can even see on his knees, zoom in a little bit to give you a better view, you can see these little toesies where they even molded in the parts indicating his bug legs in his robot legs, and yet his robot legs do not make his bug legs. And it's little things like that that they confuse people, because if they're going to leave that detail in, well then why not just make those his bug legs anyway? I know it puts off some people, but actually I quite like it. I think with all the Optimus Primes we've gotten with false chest panels, a Waspinator with false knees is perfectly acceptable. The other thing that that bugs a lot of people is that the wings sit down like this. So if you want them to kind of sit over his shoulders like they do in the show, this is really the best you can do. They end up sitting far back from his back rather than sitting up above his shoulders as they did on the show, and as far as I know, on the original toy as well. That has a lot of people saying that the original toy is the better choice for Waspinator because he doesn't really look all that different from the on-screen model to begin with. And while I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment, I don't think this is a bad representation of the character either. And I quite enjoy it. In terms of articulation, he has about standard ball joints pretty much everywhere. We've got a ball joint in the shoulder, a ball joint in the elbow. We do have a rotation joint in the wrist, if I can actually show it off without knocking the whole figure over. Ball jointed head with a full 360 degree movement, and still, even now, within just the ambient lighting from my lighting setup, you can see how fantastic that light piping is. His hips move in pretty much every direction imaginable. His knees, however, don't bend further than that, which is slightly annoying. They actually bend further in the other direction, which also slightly annoying. And then his toes can kind of move, but it's for transformation, so I don't really count it. And nothing in the waist. But as I said, pretty standard for Deluxe, and Just like with the old Beast Wars figures, which were pretty much the introduction of ball joints to the Transformers brand, the heavy use of ball joints on this figure really does serve to enhance the posability, and I very much appreciate it. He can, of course, hold his little gun in his hand, and while making the gun a part of the Beast mode, turn it this way, that looks pretty good, because again, I'm having trouble seeing the clear plastic from the Stinger on camera. Anyway, the making the gun out of a part of the Beast mode, as they did in the show and on the original toy, causes the same problem it did in the original toy line, that if you lose that gun, you've lost part of the Beast mode and now you can't transform him properly. But I still like that little bit of added attention to detail. It's just one more thing about this figure that helps make it feel more genuine. And there are quite a few of those things. It's just a very well engineered figure that looks very good in both modes, and I'm really glad that I have it. I'm really glad that I finally have a Waspinator in my collection, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people out there who got into Beast Wars later than some of us other collectors, or who were just like me and never managed to find a Waspinator at their store, who are going to be very excited to get their hands on this figure, flawed or not. And that's why I recommend this figure wholeheartedly. Unlike Rhinox, who's only situationally good, this figure is not great, but it is good overall, and perfectly worth picking up. Whether or not you agree with me, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you will find a link to a bunch of the other stuff I'm working on right now, including a link to my collections video. Check that out, and if you see anything in that video that you'd like me to review, let me know and I will see what I can do. This has been AwesomeJohn22, and I will talk to you guys later.